You are not wholly you, and you feel as though a little part of yourself has been left behind.
What do you think he meant about the gate?
That the gate grants a wish?
I misread the situation, but I did gain some useful information. This mother, I believe she is the Order Queen. We have the Order Bishop, we have the Order Knight, we have a king, like pieces on a chessboard.
About time you showed up.
You have 2 minutes to explain why I don't punch you in the face.
Welcome back, Foundlings, to another episode of the Gate Chronicles. I can tell that Quentin really wants to slurp, and he is holding himself back, and I am proud of him.
Good job, buddy.
This is Chronicle 1, Chapter 83. I am your game master and host. My name is Emily, and today I am joined by my 2 only players. Go ahead and introduce yourselves in whatever order you so deem.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock,
All
paper,
right,
scissors,
ladies
shoot.
and gentlemen, I saw some very intense rock, paper, scissoring. At first, it was Quentin coming in with the scissors, and Jaden came in with
The scissors.
their scissors.
We scissored one another.
Ooh, and then...
And then I enveloped him
What? No, hold on.
with my thick sheet of paper.
Why did this get terrible? All right, moving on.
I thought
Hi.
this was content for your children one day.
What's wrong with that?
We
You
usually
never
cut
play
these.
rock, paper, scissors?
Gosh, Jaden, get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah, what are you thinking about, man?
You make it so easy.
Hi, everybody. I'm Quentin Ott, and I play the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Charles Smoot, 57-year-old biology teacher born and raised in upstate New York, currently face-to-face with the world's most punchable face.
Okay, I thought you were going to go with currently faced with greatness, and it's strange.
He's not that great. In fact, he is quite loathsome.
Gotcha.
Xavier's face-to-face with greatness. And
it
it's
is strange.
Speaking of strange, that's me, Jaden. I play Finavir, a lost merchant trying to find his family and find himself along the way.
It was beautiful.
So simple.
It was so simple.
sweet.
Now we can all latch on. We'll put it on a t-shirt just for Jaden
That's
so he
true.
can remember.
That way, if he's ever
Well, we-
confused, he just looks down and then has to read backwards.
But we haven't made the 57, 58. What did you use this time? Do you remember to
I'm
do
still 57.
In
He's
his
not,
mind.
He's not identifying as 58 yet.
8? Yeah, you're turning 57 next year, too?
Yeah, and all the foreseeable years after that.
Yeah, Mr. Smith, I really don't get it. You keep turning 57? I don't think that's
It's
how
great.
it works.
No, I mean, you saw Groundhog Day. It's a leap year every year.
Yeah, you just don't age in this world.
You really don't. Not the same.
Yeah, you haven't aged a day, Kelsey.
Especially with the far traveler just throwing people back in time. Whatever.
I don't
Okay.
think- I mean, have you had a birthday party? I know I haven't had a birthday party.
We have not had the birthday party episode.
This is about cake. I knew it.
It is. So, let's get started. Charles and Finavir have been reunited, although not in the way they intended. The far traveler's rescue set them back to the moment where everything went wrong. But as a consequence of the far traveler's intercession, we now follow Neo-Charles and Finavir, duplicates in this singular world. The events of their past selves have already occurred, and it is certain that the lives of the originals will end in the same tragic way. Unless something changes, but a warning was given to the 2 confused heroes. They should not directly interfere with their past selves, and taking this warning to heart, the 2 work to avoid interacting with anyone they will meet. Yes, I said they will meet, because that's how timey-wimey stuff works, because they did meet them, but then they will meet them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
let's just
still-
not meet anyone.
We did still will meet them.
Yes. Using this opportunity, the small party seeks answers from one John-Xavier. Last time, you both arrived to the busty exotic girls. Jaden's face.
Yeah, he's
In-
a little too excited about those busty exotic girls.
In North District.
He's still fantasizing about Isolde.
You somehow, using your, well, all of your money,
All
Charles.
of my
Moon,
money.
bought your way into Evelina's room and also bought John-Xavier's time, finding a way to get rid of the priest ascendants that were around him. And you were led upstairs by the matroness of the establishment, and you were brought into this back room where John is currently relaxed, seated on the floor. Took you long enough.
John, you have 5 minutes to explain to me why I don't just punch you in the face right now.
Oh, I get 5 minutes. That's pretty impressive coming from someone like you.
He has extraordinary patience.
Extraordinary.
And you've been testing it for the past 3 months.
Only 3 months? I'm pretty sure it's been longer than that.
Oh no, it doesn't really matter how long it's been, John.
Let's see, it's Meyer and everything that happened was back in Ototh of last year?
The time frame, unless it's relevant, is irrelevant.
Well, I mean, it could be relevant, but...
Okay, just explain yourself.
Where do you want me to start? You want something to drink? I got plenty here.
Oh, I'll take some of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Here, come on, sit down, buddy.
It better be alcoholic, and it better be strong.
Oh, it's strong. How do you think we got them out of this place? He says, kind of like nodding his head towards the door where you're assuming he is referring to the priest descendants.
John, I just need you to be honest with me. What are you scheming?
What am I scheming?
And I use scheming specifically because you feel like a schemer.
It's okay, I speak Grump. Why did you take Cece?
Well, that's part of the scheme, but that doesn't mean that's the entire scheme. I want to know what the angle is, John.
Right. So, here's the thing. I didn't take Cece.
Well, you certainly didn't stop them from taking Cece.
That is true.
You also incapacitated a Molly so that he could be kidnapped.
I did not. All right. Listen.
4 minutes, 20 seconds, Smoot.
I'm holding myself back, bud. You better believe it.
He keeps interrupting me. It's really making this difficult, I gotta say. I don't think you remember this, but I told you mercy is something only the strong can afford to give. And unfortunately, none of us in this room are very strong compared to what we were facing. Well, I mean, I might have been, but still. Not with all of you around.
I swear, if you're trying to say that somehow your actions were to my benefit, you are walking on very thin ice here, bud.
I'm getting there. Again, I ask you, how far back do you want me to go with this?
Let's start with the explanation of your actions in Raylund.
Raylund, right. So, you two were busy, off in the military, if I remember.
Okay, Finavir had a momentary, well, also not his fault, lapse in judgment as he was basically mind-controlled by magic rocks.
Yeah, you have to be really careful with those magic rocks. What are they? The Astaria stones, that's right.
Findle just looks shamed.
And I stayed there in solidarity because I knew he would not make it 2 days in prison.
I really have to say, Charles, I'm proud of you right now. You're really keeping a handle on those emotions of yours.
And you are doing everything in your power to make me loosen the reins. A straight answer, John. What was it that made you give Cece to the Red Kingdom?
All right, one-word answer? Fine. Love.
That answers fewer questions. That makes more questions. Why does it seem?
For whom?
Is this like an agape love? Is it a...
I think maybe I need to start from the beginning.
Please.
We'll gratefully accept your context.
All right. I'll tell you my story. It was 11 years ago. Late in the evening when the fires were first lit. The chosen of the Red King stormed the city. And a bloody massacre followed in their wake. They called it a purge, as they slaughtered the members of Tyja's clans. There were 4 originally, before some coup d'etat occurred. 3 remained. The Musfanis, the Yoshida, and the Ovanovich. Many sympathizers were also killed. Women, children were not spared. I cannot speak to their reasons for this. I couldn't justify it if I tried. Everything was just in the name of replacing the old system that they thought was corrupt in some way. I was helping the Musfani clan at the time, and we were trying to stop it. This ragtag party and I. And she was there. The only woman who's ever had my heart. We were in this underground tunnel system in the city. It was a strange place, much like the ruins in the forest, with white walls that could move on their own, and machinations like the ones in my arm. And he kind of lifts up that mechanical arm of his. The whole place itself felt like it was an artifact. Unfortunately, things went south quickly. It was a trap. As we tried to escape, the walls closed in around us. I tried to grab her, to pull her out, but the walls slammed down. And that's when I lost my arm. And my heart. There's a brief moment of silence as he watches his robotic hand, and then he smirks and smiles again, looking up at you. I wasn't able to escape either. I was taken hostage by the people that now run this kingdom. They held me for about 2 years. Generally, people like me were given a chance to pledge their loyalty or face execution. I refused, but it would never kill me. They just asked the same question every day, and I gave them the same answer. They said, I'm a seeker. I can pledge no loyalty to any nation. You've already taken everything from me. Might as well kill me. They declined my request, and I was stuck there for some time until one day I was brought before the Red King. I don't know if you've heard the rumors, but not many people have ever seen the Red King. And I know he hasn't really made any public presentations since the events of the Purge and the few years after. He was dressed in black and crimson royal garb. He had a hood over his head and a mask that shielded his face, all held in place by this golden crown that he wore. Ironic, seeing that they were trying to replace the ruling class of Taija from then. By his side, there was a beautiful woman with long blonde hair. She was dressed in white. She just stood out amongst everyone else. And then there were the other members of the order that were also present. And then they showed me something that I couldn't refuse. They offered me a deal. Find Cece and return her to the Red King in exchange for the life of the woman I love. And the second part of the deal was I would have to find a missing piece of an artifact. This small, triangular object, about the size of a palm. In exchange for that, they would free her and me. I agreed to it. And as a sign of good faith, I assume, maybe just to show off her power, this woman that was beside the king used this strange magic and created the arm that I now have and embedded it in my body. It was immensely painful, and it's the last thing I remember from my time in the palace before I blacked out, and then I was out in the wild, essentially. It took about a year when I was looking for Cece, and I learned that Amali had survived. A little strange, I thought, since he was so strongly bound to our party's leader, Uta. And I had a feeling that if Amali was alive, he might have an idea of where Cece was. So, I tried to get closer to him. I helped him join the Seekers Guild. He never mentioned anything about her location, so I followed him one day back to a little village called Ashby, and that's where I saw her. I couldn't do it, though. I kept thinking that Artemis would have hated me if I took a helpless child back then. Back to them. I wanted to be unselfish for once. For her. maybe I could find another way. And seeing Amali and Cece together, I thought maybe he could protect her. Maybe she would be safe, even from me. I bided my time, tried to figure out what their end goal was. The Red King, I mean. Where they came from and any other way to get Artemis back. Unfortunately, not a lot of success in that area, as Seekers don't really want anything to do with politics of other nations. Neutrality above all else. And I had to go back once in a while to show that I was playing their game, slowly feeding them information and rumors I gathered, meanwhile aiding that little spitfire of a revolution they have going. I thought I had more time. But I was a fool. Before I knew it, the Red Kingdom was already knocking at our doorsteps. And where was Amali in all of this? Oh, delving. And as they got closer and closer to Ashby, he was too busy going on those excursions. I don't know how you go from complete awareness of where your enemy is to there's an entire battalion in our front yard. But all I know is that kid, Amali, has only ever run away. From his homeland, his duty, his friends, the girl he supposedly cares for. I imagine that's what he's been doing, afraid of whatever he's feeling. I don't know what goes on in that head of his. He never lets anyone in. Even poor little Cece is kept at arm's length. But the fact that he allowed the Red Guard to get that close, for her to almost die as he stood by and watched as she was beset by a Toda, told me all I needed to know. He knew nothing of love or family. He was bred to fight. So either he was afraid, or he didn't care. And in either case, he couldn't protect her against an entire nation. When she told me those things, I realized I may have made a mistake in trusting her to him. I mean, Amali even left her with me without so much as questioning my intentions. At that rate, the Red Guard would have found her sooner or later. And if I continued to dawdle, my ploy would have been given up, endangering the woman I love. So, I made my decision to finally fulfill one part of my deal. But I couldn't just walk away and leave her fate in someone else's hands. And I couldn't storm the Red King's palace and expect to survive. So, I made a plan. A way to protect her and still get Artemis back. It certainly didn't go as planned. I don't think anything ever does. You see, Amali's never really had friends to rely on, so I was surprised when he showed up with you all. And an even bigger bonus was the little lordling you scrounged up somehow. A lordling once promised to the girl in question, with direct connections to the ruler of a nation that was opposed to the Red Kingdom. I figured with a little nudging, Rayloon would finally engage with the Red Kingdom in combat, pulling the orders and their soldiers to the front line, leaving Taija a little less defended. And Amali, after reading my message, would arrive in Raylan shortly after we departed. I figured you lot would point him in the right direction, and you all and Amali storm the castle, rescue the princess, and I get Artemis back. We kiss, we make up, and we live happily ever after. But no, the surprise regicide was not accounted for. Amali is fast as shit. The Order Bishop somehow obtained an artifact that he should not have, and subdued the strongest man alive. So yeah, I had a plan, but it all went to shit.
Well,
then the only thing left to ask, John, is what are you planning to do now?
That is the question, isn't it? See, I stayed in the city because I can't just leave Cece alone. Not when Amali isn't here really to watch over her, and there's no one else for her to rely on. Which is why I'm glad you've shown up. However, he looks you over. I see you're missing a number of your party, and I don't think you're quite ready to deal with what my plan has to offer, at least not without the powerhouse that Amali offered. Fortunately, when I met the Red King, I got this sense that, maybe not the best sense, but still, that as long as he's alive, no harm will come to Cece. However, my concern isn't with him, but rather that other person, the Order Queen as she is called.
Oh, we're familiar.
Yeah, she's a wild card. I got that sense that she's somehow holding herself back.
Oh, you could say that.
He looks at you slightly confused.
Oh, well, not to derail the conversation, but we've experienced that not holding back firsthand. Although neither of us know the ceiling of her power, we both personally experienced her rather rapid ability to kill oneself in an instant.
He looks back and forth between the two of you. I'm sorry, what?
Well, it's hard to make sense of myself, but I've experienced stranger things, so I've learned to accept this. Although I can't personally attest to the entirety of the details of what Smoot endured, I met this blonde queen. She created lifelike illusions. We're able to dig into the memories of my past before we even spoke a word. And the moment I stopped answering questions that interest her, I was coiled up by metal and skewered to the head. Now, I'm sure you're asking, where's the hole?
I think my other question is, how are you here? Are you sure you didn't dream it up, kid? He kind of takes the bottle of ale and just kind of fills a cup and just passes it to you. Hats it.
Given the last 24 hours I've endured, I'll imbibe a bit. I'll take a sip.
Uh-huh.
How much do you know about the Far Traveler? Or higher powered relics dealing in time? Here's what I know. We were separated from our group in the Colosseum. Seeing the injustice of those that were tortured, emotionally sprang some to action and some to follow in. I'll let you guess who is who.
He looks over at Charles.
We were locked away, failed our escape, and when brought before Order Knight Revenant, he decided to make quick use of us. Sent me off with the bishop and him, with himself.
He sent himself with himself?
No, he sent Smoot with himself. Oh, sorry. The stuff is strong. I think maybe I will, to make a longer story short, in our separation, we tried to figure out what we could in our given areas, but in either case, we ended up meeting with this blonde-haired queen, which very quickly ended with each of our demise. In my case, after being skewered, I saw myself, out of an out-of-body experience, met with a man who seemed to slip through the fabric of reality in and out. I went through I saw this gate, but bigger than any I'd ever seen.
You went through the gate?
I believe so. I was kind of not in control of my actions at the moment. And I find myself missing memories post that event. Afterwards, I was told not to meet with my previous self, that the second chance would come with a cost, and I was left at the Colosseum once again, watching my own self be dragged into the turmoil that separated us in the first place. So, if I am correct, myself, Smoot, Kelsey, and Valen are all locked up in the jail cells as we speak, but myself and Smoot will be sent off before the evening is said and done.
Uh-huh. Right.
If you think that story's weird, you should hear ours about the gorilla.
Part of me really, really, really wants to punch you in the face. But the other part of me sympathizes with you. I can't approve of your methodology or actions, but your motivation is something I know all too well. But with that being said, can't you see how much of a goddamn hypocrite you are? You complain that Amali would never let anyone in and that he ran away from his problems. What do you call what you did? You had this master scheme in place, and you said that, oh no, the chess pieces didn't move in the correct order, when half of them were your friends. Imagine if you just let us in on your little scheme. Sure, we probably wouldn't have been so happy with you using Cece as bait, but, maybe if you didn't try and do everything on your own and relied on others for a change, John, you would get somewhere. You say that Amali was running in fear from his problems? Why didn't you stand side by side with the people who were there with you and stand up to the bishop? You were surprised that Amali, the powerhouse, was taken down. What if you fought with us instead of against us? I'm not sure whether Franny and Lord Eden telling me to ask you for help was for my benefit or for your own, because it really seems like that you need to get used to letting other people help.
You see, like, there's a little flinch on his face. Go ahead and roll me a sense motive.
Sure.
You can tell that your words are hitting true, and they do seem to bother him, despite his outward appearance and the smirk that he almost always has on his face. The facade of confidence kind of is shaken a little. He fumbles about for his own rebuttal, it seems, before he just sighs. I get it, right? Certainly I could have opened myself up a bit more and offered information. I see now it might have been a better option if I had actually told somebody, but I couldn't fight back, and I still can't, not while they have Artemis. I am limited on what I can do as they hold her life in their hands. That's why I needed others like Amali and you all. I don't care if I have to become the bad guy. I don't care if you perceive me in such a way. Because the truth is, I need you to feel. I need it to be real. Because if any of it was fake, the bishop would have seen through it. So even if I am being a bit of a hypocrite, I have to believe what I'm saying. You don't know Amali like I do. I worked with him for a good long while. He's grown. But I shouldn't have put it all on him to protect her, and that is my fault. But I succeeded in what I wanted to do, and that was make him angry, and he did respond. He's just freaking fast. He wasn't supposed to be there. Just like the king wasn't supposed to die.
Nobody can change the past.
Apparently some people can, but that's not the point.
We find the relic that lets us change the past. We'll revisit this conversation. But until then,
change the past. So the question is what are we going to do about our future? If you truly regret not opening up to people and not trusting others, then let this be a catalyst for change. Help us and let us help you.
So is everything he said, and he points to Finavir, and looking at you, Charles, does that ring true for you as well?
I think he's a little confused on some of the details. I'm not sure, but I think more or less we have a similar understanding of events.
I just want to make sure that y'all are on the same page and nobody's hallucinating. Especially because I gave him, he like pulls the ale away from you, Finavir.
Yeah, that's probably for the best.
We were certainly warned that as of this current state and time, our souls are split between 2 points in reality, and that until one of the two comes to a natural end, we should not interact with ourselves. With that being said, we do have a very definitive time frame of both of our other halves. If they are to repeat the past historic events, they will come to their very imminent demise within about 2 to 3 weeks.
There will be time to process when everyone is safe. A sentiment I'm sure you're familiar with.
I get it. What do you want from me right now? There is a sort of plan, but it's going to require you all to get stronger and to have your full party.
Okay, so let us know the plan so we can know by what metric stronger is.
So you say you got your asses kicked by a chick?
Yeah, pretty handily.
At least we had the balls to fight her.
I mean, I tried, but it was over.
So fast. You didn't even have a chance to fight. You just said you won't get away with this and died.
What's your point, John? Are you saying we have to go after the Order Queen?
No. She's too insulated. You have to get them out one at a time. Take out the outer pieces, work your way in. You gotta put the king in check.
Do you have a means of doing so? Or
Absolutely not. Which is why I'm saying you all need to get stronger. You need at least to get to my level.
When you're only gold?
I am gold tier. I'm a rescuer. I'm a higher rank gold tier member. I'm not an actual seeker anymore. I kind of stepped back from that because I couldn't really go on the excursions in the same way.
Maybe that's what Amali was doing on his excursions. Attain a higher form of strength.
I don't know what Amali was doing, but his whole job was to protect the girl.
Well, that's your job now.
If you say we need to get stronger, and we are truly stronger together, do you know where Amali was taken? No one would have more power and more motivation to rescue her.
That is quite a true statement, yes. You see, all right. So Amali is no longer present in this realm.
He's dead?
What? No, in West Realm. He's not in West Realm anymore. He was taken over to East Realm, to Aradia.
Oh. Well, that explains quite a bit.
Yeah. So, technically, Amali was originally a slave that came over from the Aradian Empire. I think he snuck aboard the ship, is what I remember hearing from Uta. Uta was our party leader, if you didn't remember. So, he snuck aboard the ship, Uta met him, freed him, and then Amali was like, oh, I pledge my loyalty to you forever.
That seems like kind of tangential. The point, I guess, is he's on another continent?
Yeah, that is the point. However, it's not as tangential as it seems because the Aradian Empire nobility requested his return to them.
Another king. Emperor, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah, so how do I explain this? So technically, how much do you know about Amali?
He's really hot. Temperature-wise.
Yeah, no, John narrows his eyes and leans.
Like temperature-wise, guys. Like he makes fireballs, I think. Soul-type pillar of fire. He punches things really good.
I did notice the campsite was warmer whenever he returned.
John just kind of pauses, raises a finger.
I don't know much about his history. He was very closeted about that. I know about his character. I know he took a nobody who wanted to become something more under his wing at great expense to himself. I know he protected Cece for what time that he did. I know that he often had this look of disappointment. With context, maybe he was just more disappointed himself. But I guess, to answer your question, no, we don't know much about his history. Thank you for informing us.
To answer your question after this long thing. No, it's fine. That was cute. Right, so I don't know everything either. To be fair, I didn't really care that much. Closest I got to him was when I was teaching him, you go pick a thing up, bring it to Eden, she gets happy, and she gives you things. That's about as far as we got, relationship-wise. According to Uta, Amali was somebody known as a Sun Fist. It's a title that's given to the strongest slave in the personal property of the royal family. I remember something was mentioned that he had to kill his master just to get the title. So yeah, technically Amali was owned by the Aradian government, and I guess his princess wanted him back. That's all I got. Like I said, I think he snuck aboard the ship and he wasn't supposed to be here, and he's been hiding out for the past 12 years or so.
Well, if they have the means to restrain him, this will be difficult.
About that, I don't know. I don't know how the bishop got hold of a binding stone, but that is the only thing that could have held Amali down. All I know is there was one that was found on this continent, and it was locked away in the Grand Archive.
That sounds powerful.
It is. It's supposed to be... I don't even know if it's from the ancient world or not, or some thing that fell from the sky, but supposedly it was a stone that was powerful enough to bind the power of even the legendary immortals. And they chose to lock it away in the Grand Archive because it was too dangerous for one nation to obtain, so they thought, keep it away from the power-hungry monsters, and look what happened.
And they let this stone out of their grasp to send Amali on a trip to the east?
I don't know.
Ben, if you put two and two together, the Seekers aren't really on the best of terms with the Red Guards. So if the Binding Stone was in the Seekers' Grand Archive, that means the Red Guards probably have another spy besides John.
That, or there's another Binding Stone somewhere and they got it. But yeah, that's also a possibility.
I was more focused on what we could do if we got a hold of that stone. The power that we could seal away.
Certainly true, but that's the only thing that could bind Amali, and it went with him, then it's probably halfway across the world right now.
Well, then maybe that's where we need to be.
You see, the way you're talking about using the stone, the thing that the Seekers put in a grand archive so no one could use it, that's why they don't want it used. That's why they don't want anyone to have it. That's why I don't understand how the bishop has one. To be fair, we don't know if there's more than one. The one that they found on this continent is in the archive as far as I'm aware.
All right, John, so our prospects of rescuing Cece are next to zero. Am I to assume that our prospects of rescuing Amali are about the same?
Well, I mean, if you wanted to try, you could, but again, I would suggest you rank up a bit, get more experience. East Realm's a very different continent. Hot suns, lots of desert, lots of sand.
Right. We'll grab who we can. We'll grab Kelsey, Balin, make our way to the gate, the local one. You know how to get there.
And then do what with it? You know a key to get us to Aradia?
Maybe there's a gate there.
Man, what if there's not?
But even if there's not, we could use that to get back.
You do realize that our explicit mission was to destroy said gate so it could never be used again, right?
You know, bombs have wicks. You put a bomb, you light the wick, you go through the portal, and then you blow it up.
You also know bombs have a chance of failing, right?
Yeah, so then if it doesn't work, we are on the other side, and then we get bombs there and bring more in.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but while there is a gate in Aradia, you have to have special authorization from the guild's overseer to go over there.
Great. So we make nice with Eden, level up.
Oh, no. Eden is not the overseer. She is a base guardian. The overseer is located in Jaeger, in the northern part of Westrealm, past the Dragonfell Mountains and Heaven's Gate.
Right.
And remember, last time I checked, due to the fact that the Seekers were at war, all gate teleportation was strictly no-no, which means we would have to physically go there.
Ah, Lasai.
If you wanted to go over to Aradia, to East Realm, you're going to have to charter a vessel for that. That's going to be a little over a month's journey. My recommendation is, don't do it yet. Wait for the time to be right. Like I said, I think Cece is going to be just fine for now.
You've dedicated yourself to someone you care about. I see that you've taken action to take care of Cece as well. You've restrained yourself and changed for the benefit of others. I'll trust you, John.
Right. What's with the sappy talk? Is he...
Are you talking to a different...
I see. I'm relegated to comic relief while you two get to have the serious talk.
I'm just saying, are you talking to the same John I'm talking to?
Like, really, I don't understand. What are you saying to me?
We're going to have to leave. We'll get stronger. I trust you to take care of Cece, as you've done your best to take care of her, despite the circumstances so far.
I think he's trying to is he trying to compliment me?
I think so.
I think so.
I would just take it. Just smile and nod.
I'm not used to being... I'm normally insulted by people.
I was ready to hate you. I was ready to fight you.
Honestly, I'd prefer if you were more like that. This is weird. He's like... You can tell he seems very uncomfortable leaning away from you slightly. Are you trying to leave here really fast or something? You have no more questions at all? You just are ready to buzz on out of here?
No. We're talking about our plan, and the first step is to get Kelsey and Valen back.
Okay.
There's a labyrinth that we were blindfolded on our way out the last time.
The prison underneath the Colosseum.
They're in the Colosseum. Why are you all in the Colosseum?
Well, you see, I saw people getting murdered, so me being me, I went to go stop it, and then everyone else being uncharacteristically stupid jumped in after me.
Well, at least it's the Colosseum. That place is pretty easy to break people out of. They keep the guard pretty lax there. Unless something happens that really gets the guards' ire up and then they increase security. But normally that doesn't happen.
You mean like someone trying to escape?
Honestly, we should have escaped. It was a comedy of errors that led to our...
What do you mean you should have escaped?
We had a key and everything.
So he's also using a lot of we language. Understand that this is a royal we and this is exclusively on Finavir.
Oh yeah, he was chained neck, arms. What you might expect from someone so abrasive.
Right. What I'm trying to understand is, are you telling me you failed getting out of prison? Did you alert the guards in any way?
Oh, yeah.
Like 4 of them, yeah.
And then we saw the Order Knight Revenant.
And when did all this happen?
Oh, it's happening right now.
Yeah, that's about right.
So damn it. So what you're telling me is not only did you get arrested, put into the simplest prison to break somebody out of, but you managed to somehow make it more difficult to get people out because you triggered the guards.
Yeah, sounds about exactly what he did.
I mean, they handled the situation in less than a minute. I mean, is that enough to warrant escalation?
Depends. Did you actually get out of the cell? Were you walking around?
Yeah, for sure.
He just looks at you as if you should know better. Of course they're going to increase the guard now.
But now we have all of our stuff. And I have absolutely no hesitation with bashing some skulls in.
We will need a set of lockpicks, because I don't think we're getting a hold of that key again.
Beat up one of the guards and take it.
I'm sick of using hairpins. I need a good set.
Sure, buy a set in the city. Are they looking for you right now?
No, we're arrested. Why would they be looking for us?
They have us.
I'm willing to help you break out your friends. That's not a problem. I just am going to need a day or two to occupy the priest descendants the bishop has sicked on me. Also, I wouldn't recommend trying to break them out tonight, seeing that you have ignited probably the guards' ire, meaning they're going to be harsher and probably more stringent on their watch.
They were drunk and playing poker.
That means Revenant's just going to replace them with somebody who isn't drunk and isn't playing poker.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Here's my suggestion to you. You could find a place here in North District, or you can go back to Franny's Tavern, hang out there. She'll keep you safe. If you're at least in the South District, it's a little bit of an easier access to where the Coliseum is. It's closer. However, I don't know when, but generally, anybody that is not slated for execution is not going to be held in the Coliseum prison for very long. Worst case scenario, they get moved to the military ward in East District. I have some familiarity with the place. I'm used to rescuing people. My job, after all. Concerns, I don't know if you're just going to get in the way or if you'll actually be useful. He kind of muses this out loud. How confident are you at sneaking around and actually breaking people out?
Sneaking? No. Breaking people? Yes.
Kind of pauses. It's going to make this a little difficult. Listen, if you want to come with me, you can. Of my way and letting me do my work. It's up to you, though. If you want to rescue your friends with me, you can tag along. If you want to leave it up to me, you can. I'll get some of Franny's people to help me.
There's no way we're just going to sit on the sidelines. It's not like we have anything else to do.
My suggestion is don't rush into anything. If you keep rushing into things, it's going to get you into trouble. You need to learn more about your environment and the people that you're fighting and the people you're fighting for. Don't go in blind.
Right.
Speaking of which, you want me to say anything to Cece for you? They let me see her about twice a month. I get an hour with her, generally up in the palace.
Just let her know that her family's coming for her.
Well, this isn't goodbye. Feel free to drink. We paid off most of the night.
I had a thought. So, obviously, the regicide wasn't part of your initial plan, but I guess the most difficult thing for us was the fact that it was pinned on Valen. Do you think that there would be any proof lingering here in the Red Kingdom that would be able to maybe prove his innocence and convict and implicate Desmond in the process? If so, then perhaps you could still more or less get the ending you were desiring. If we can prove that Desmond killed the king in order to collude with the Red Kingdom, then undoubtedly, Valen would be crowned and all of Raylund would fight against them. You would still be able to draw the forces to the front line.
I can't say whether or not Desmond was involved. I do know, however, the bishop was.
Do you think having something like the bishop's personal ledger for the past couple of months would be really handy?
I mean, probably. Depends on what's in it.
That's a good question, Finn. What's in it?
He takes it out.
You're essentially just telling him that it's a book with financial details in it.
Oh, and you'll reprimand. Honestly, genius tactic to benefit off the wealth of the enemy while writing the funds down.
Well, technically it's also the money of the people. We're not going to talk about that. Anyway,
Well, they're not getting it back.
Well,
This is the closest thing that you'll get.
you mind if I look at that?
Yeah.
He takes the book from you, begins kind of flipping through it. So there are lots of numbers in here.
Yeah.
As one would expect from a financial ledger.
Some of these things are written in a code. Can't read them. You can assume what they mean, but without definitive proof of the meaning, you can't do anything with it. But also, think back. When did everything happen in Rayland? Ototh. We're in Meyer. That's 7 months from then.
So, due to the size of the ledger, you're saying that probably these transactions in this document don't date far enough back.
From what I can see, no. You need a different book. So wherever you got this from...
Also, though I'm not entirely appraised of the rules, much like how our bodies are duplicated, I believe, at least the more mundane of items are also duplicated. Hence why we don't believe that the bishop will be missing his ledger. This is, in advocacy, a copy of it, though I do not know if it will remain.
There would be something very strange when they find our corpses deep underground.
He kind of looks at you.
There's a secret passage.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard my story.
Missed his entire backstory about how the love of his life and him were killed in the underground passageways of Taisha.
Oh, I don't know how extensive they are.
Fairly extensive.
Good to know.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
If you want proof of the bishop's wrongdoing, you're going to need to find the cipher or his journals. And you're going to need to find the right book. I think you're on the right track here, but this one's too recent.
Well, I have some good news and some bad news about that book. The good news is I know who can find it. There's a man I became acquainted with. His name is Christoph. He worked with the clergy in his own situation, but he organizes the books, as far as I can tell. But he would know where to find the book, but he already have been in quite a bit of trouble for what I put him through, asking for more.
Does he know you yet?
He will know me tomorrow.
All right. I mean, my suggestion is you go there on Overdue when there's a big mass and you sneak in.
Well, Finn, we were kind of expressly stated to not interact with ourselves. I'm not sure how feasible going to a location where you are already going to be present is going to be.
Well, maybe this gets put off until we come back.
When the problem be solved, just wait until you leave the area and then go in after yourself.
Well, I think that's what Finn was just trying to indicate.
No, actually, he has a point. If we were to enter just when I left, there would be a sliver of time where the audience would be distracted, the door would be unlocked. We could at least escape through the tunnels, but that's how things went sour last time. We go a little bit more left next time and a little bit less right.
No, I'm telling you, do not go in the tunnels, Finn. That place is dangerous.
Then we jump out a window or something.
Wait, Finn, did you get my note?
Yeah.
So, if you're already going to be in the bishop's office,
We could alter the note.
and we can just make it so that you, in the future, goes to find the correct book.
But that means I'll die in the tunnels with the book. There's no guarantee that the book I have will change.
No, I'm not thinking that. Is there any way... You mentioned Christoph, was it?
Oh, he was looking for a book as well. But he got what he wanted and then left.
Where'd he go?
He went out the door to reset the lock.
So, what did... We just told you then to give Christoph the ledger that we want. And we just meet up with
Kristoff on the other side.
See, I'm a simple man. This is way too confusing for me. I would just go in, make sure that you grab the right book. What if he grabs the wrong book, honestly? But whatever.
Well, it would be Finn that would be grabbing the wrong book. So, do you trust Finn or do you trust Finn?
Well, you get one chance. Everything that goes in and out is read, analyzed, and you either get it or you don't.
I was thinking then as well.
You do remember, Finn, that your letter, when you received it, had been opened?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was able to hide secret messages in the letter previously. It doesn't seem like they intercepted it that time, so what if we say something about fondly remembering our time together in Ototh or something like that?
I agree. It sounds like too much of a risk. Manipulating our other selves might be more trouble than it's worth, especially if it causes us to accidentally cross paths. It sounds like quite the risk for me to be in the same building at the same time.
Right, so then how would we get into the bishop's office anyways if we aren't going to be in the same building as you at the same time?
Wait, why wouldn't you just go to Mass on Overdue, wait until Finn does whatever he does, time it, and then you go in after you've left?
You'd stay outside the building until after Mass starts?
Why would you have to stay outside of the building? Like, how far away do you have to be from somebody?
I don't know. I don't know the rules, man.
You said you saw yourself in the Colosseum, so sounds like that distance is probably fine.
You're pretty smart, John.
I am a gold ring seeker. Being observant is my job.
You are very observant.
But also, when you were retelling me what occurred then, you mentioned that you felt like you didn't have very much time, and that's why you went down the tunnels.
This was all assumption. I don't know how long Mass typically takes because I only went to the one. We wait until Kristoff and I go in, and we wait outside the door for when Kristoff comes out. That would be exactly when I would have left, minus the time. We would have to knock on the door right when we hear the statue moving back.
Why would you knock on the door? Just go in.
Oh yeah, I guess we could just go in.
You said you were going to pick the lock.
Oh, that's right. He had to relock the lock with the key, and he had done that, yeah.
Should we somehow get in contact and warn this Kristoff fellow so he's not terribly confused?
Maybe not.
You think this individual's just going to let you barge into the bishop's office? And also not ask questions about why you went one way and then appeared another?
Okay. One, he did let me barge into the bishop's office. Like, he past tense. He definitely did that. And we only knew each other for a couple days.
No, I think what he's saying is, why would he let you go in when you just left?
Wouldn't he be really confused?
Well, we just explained ourselves very quickly.
Yeah, let's just explain the fact that we have time-traveling doppelgangers very quickly.
Yeah, what if he starts asking questions and asks you to save his, wife and child or something?
Well, we are already starting a list.
They're dead or something. Past tense. Never mind.
If I could,
the implication.
Tell him the truth, and we can't. Honestly, if I knew how to go back, I'd go all the way back to Raylan when everything went wrong.
Well, the fact that the Far Traveler is a real individual is quite big news indeed. Does he know about this?
Not yet, no. As I was very expressly told to not come back until the gate at Wolf's Lodge is entirely destroyed.
A woman after my own heart. She really does speak pretty forthright.
It is her most admirable quality.
Why was that so robotic? It's it is her most admirable.
Equally abrasive to Smoot. They were made for each other.
They were absolutely made
if he wasn't already married.
He was, past tense.
Huh.
He's not. Neo Smoot is different.
Well, till death do you part, but how does that work with time travel?
Yeah, you haven't even talked to your buddy boy, your deep soul buddy.
Salrak!
Yeah, he got his teeth kicked in. He doesn't get words yet.
He's upset and pouting.
He'll get his rematch.
So you kind of have a plan now, all right? Do you have any other questions? I don't know how often we're going to be able to meet.
We can all just get together at Franny's Tavern, can't we?
You can. Franny's Tavern is a safe place. She made sure of it.
Sounds pretty ideal.
Yeah, she renovated Uta's space. And when I say renovated, she made it look more dingy than it already was. So now it's even more safe because nobody wants to go down there.
Yeah, I did notice that our table wasn't clean when we sat down.
He's not talking about the actual tavern. He's talking about the underground basement.
Oh.
So even if John's unable to make it, I'm sure Franny could stow away Kelsey and Valen, and we can just regroup with them before heading out.
Oh, I do have some clarifying questions. The last time I didn't ask these, it caused heavy issues.
Ask away. That's what I'm here for.
What is the view on magic in this area? If anyone catches me performing it, what are the consequences? He takes off his glove.
I'm sorry, not trying to laugh at your pain.
Oh, yes, I realized the irony in my grandfather's mansion. That
Your grandfather's mansion? You have a mansion?
apparently, I'm related to my grandfather.
You're related to your grandfather.
I think we all are, bud.
Yeah.
Maybe not yours specifically, but I think I'm related to mine at least.
The manor in question is the Asher estate. Apparently, my name
Asher Wineries. That's really... Oh, you gotta hook me up. I really do enjoy his fine Chardonnays.
Their products are impressive, but that's not the life.
Well, if you're a nobleman's son in Rayland, you should be fine to cast magic.
Like I said, the irony doesn't elude me.
Oh, well, that's why you said that. I'd say don't go around casting things everywhere in front of people necessarily. Be subtle about it. There's no law, per se, against it, but I will say it will draw attention if you do things out in the open. So if your goal is to remain under the radar, my recommendation is to avoid casting anything using your magic or whatever the magica thing they say in Rayland in public, like in front of people. Although you might have more favoritism in the West District because of the education ward there. They tend to be more lenient on kids experimenting with their abilities.
Wait, are there, places to study magic?
Not really magic specifically.
That's a shame.
So, previously you mentioned that part of the deal that the Red Kingdom made with you for the safety of your loved one was twofold. One, you bring them Cece, and two, you bring them the key to an artifact.
Well, more like a missing piece, I guess. I guess if it's the final piece, it would be a key.
What exactly do you know about the artifact or the key?
He rubs his temple and kind of tilts his head. I know exactly what they're talking about. Not the artifact specifically, but I know what piece they're missing. And it is currently at Wolf's Lodge in its reliquary, which is generally secure as long as nobody opens the reliquary. They shouldn't be able to find it.
Well, so about that, good news and good news, I guess.
He pauses. Are you really about to give me good news, or was that just a layup to tell me you were somehow involved in opening the real lodge?
Well, the vault's definitely gonna be open, but the gate battery will be destroyed, and the key piece that you are referencing will be in Lamb's Respite.
You moved it.
Yes.
All right, that's good. Okay.
Now, the only thing is I don't know that one's any different from this one.
He reaches a hand out. You mind if I take a look?
I hand it.
He fidgets it with it for a second. I have no idea how this thing works. You open it up. Well, shit. He closes it. He hands it back to you. It looks identical to me. Don't know why two of them?
I thought it was strange, too.
Where'd you get the other one?
This one was in Rayland.
Rayland?
I was led to it by the far traveler. Told me that this was the key. And when we met him the most recent time, he instructed both Finn and I to find the gate.
He's saying it's a key to the gate. A gate. But what gate?
Presumably that enormous black gate?
The one you passed through in your death?
Maybe.
It wasn't, you didn't see it on so where did you see the gate?
Well, I mean, I guess I can go into detail, but in the room where she was, and I found her there.
Yeah, you did
the
say.
tunnels.
Yeah, we were talking about that for a little while.
That, I believe, is where I saw the gate in question. So they're in possession of the gate itself.
What? They're in possession of a gate?
And they're looking for a key.
You see his face get very serious. It's like the smirk on his face is gone, and you can see almost like age catching up with him. There can't be a gate here. There shouldn't be. There's no... What did it look like?
It was large. Larger than any gate that I've seen at any Seeker base that we've been to. It's like an enormous black arch. And there is something else that might be prudent about the gate. He kind of looks at Smoot. We were told that if you were to unlock the gate, you'll be granted a wish. The details weren't explained.
At least that's what we got from the far traveler who likes to speak in riddles and paintings.
He does do that. And dreams.
Riddles and paintings and dreams.
Damn it all.
Do you know what this gate is?
I don't know how much I'm allowed to tell you. This is generally something that really only those of gold rank and higher are informed of. What do you know about the gates? And I'm not talking about the mirror gates.
You believe that this is the gate of corruption that Eden's been looking for?
Gods, no. No. That thing is definitely in the forest.
Oh, okay.
So I'm assuming then that Eden's told you a little bit. What else has she told you?
The spooky gate of corruption that's corrupting the forest and then the forest the world.
Right, okay.
That's about all I got. And
all
she
right.
wants to stop the forest blight.
Listen, either you didn't hear this from me, or you did, and it's good news for you. So pick and choose who you tell. This is really only for those of higher rank. I'm telling you, though, because for some reason Eden has given you more information than anyone else of your rank.
I don't know if Finn knew about any of this.
Oh.
By her own admission, she was out of gold members, and we were the next best thing.
They're really desperate then.
They are very desperate right now.
Oh, and I assume she said, go find John, he'll help you.
Yeah, that's how desperate she is.
All right, boys, sit down, pull up your panties, and prepare yourselves for the story of a lifetime. And by that, I mean a very brief one, since even us Seekers don't have that much information. There are 9 gates. 9 gates of the Fallen, which is detailed in something called the Book of the Fallen. And far fewer of these gates have been located. Conversely to the technology that we have seen with the mirror gates, these things are ancient, almost as if they were part of the creation of this world. The Seekers believe that the first gate that was opened was the gate of catastrophe, which destroyed the previous civilization and has put us where we are today. The gate of corruption, which we believe is in the Forest of the Forgotten, with much evidence saying so, has slowly been corrupting the forest and encroaching on the civilizations within West Realm. It's a slow corruption that eats away at society. It's part of what causes, or at least what we believe causes, the curse of the forest on people. Some you've already met. I don't know what gate is here in Taija, but I think that's going to be something we need to tell Eden, and soon.
Well, we spring our people out of jail, steal a ledger book, bada bing, bada boom, we run down to New Eden and take the Tiger's Den gate back to Lamb's Respite.
You want to go to, all right, New Eden.
Wouldn't that be the safest path?
It's a different path, yeah.
I mean, we're not going through the Darkwood, and we're not going through any land routes contested by the Red Guard or their controlled ports.
You're going to have to travel through some of the Red Kingdom to get to New Eden, yes.
Only up until the point that you get to Wolf's Lodge.
No, it's certainly a logical conclusion, is to...
It's just we're going to have to go through a little bit of uncontested wildlands. But they can't be any more dangerous than the forest.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely going to make sure you have a mount or something to help you get through those areas. Very swampy. It's more humid down there. Hotter.
How old do you think Bluefin elk would do.
So you know Toda.
Yeah.
So Ashby had like a naturalized region where there were Toda in that area. I think a lot more of them. Now, to be fair, the bluefin elk seem to have adapted to that environment, which is why they have those massive racks and can generally fend them off.
I think any of the Toda down there in the wild are bigger than Drake.
No, they don't get that big. They really feed Drake. They give him a specialized diet, I've heard.
Then we should be fine. I almost killed Drake.
Good on you. You got stronger.
Still, apparently not strong enough.
This certainly has gotten a lot more complicated than I was expecting. But if you go to New Eden, get to Tiger's Den, it is named for the creatures that live there as well. Just so you're aware.
Okay, so these are like any hill like pantomime size of tiger, the expected regular size. So we're talking about tigers, not like house-sized tigers or something crazy. We're not going to be surprised or anything.
Is he talking about... He just looks at you, Charles. Does he know what a tiger is?
It doesn't appear then.
The otters, those...
Right. Finn?
Yeah.
Not a tiger.
Not a tiger?
Tiger.
Oh!
Yeah, but imagine it has two heads, and one side breathes fire, and the other side breathes lightning.
Excuse me? That is not a tiger.
It's a biger.
No, I really am kidding you. No, they're just regular cats.
Oh,
House
okay.
cats.
That's fine.
Not a house cat. Think bigger.
Think bigger?
A lot bigger.
Like the size of a dire wolf.
Ever seen a bear?
Yeah, I've seen...
Almost bear-sized.
I've been told tales about bears.
So, fun fact. The tigers of Tiger's Den, not natural creatures. They were brought over from Meradia, and then for some reason, somebody set them loose, and they went wild.
Literally.
Very literally. So, they're not native.
Okay. Now just gonna throw this out here. Last time, I was told that there are otters in Otter's Holt. Now, I know otters for being cute, floating on their backs, and holding hands so they don't drift apart.
And raping ducks.
Apparently, like, that's one of their pastimes. But that's not the point. These otters turned into a giant psychic water mecha otter? Do I need to be concerned about giant psychic mecha tigers?
Oh, you got to see their special move. That is legendary. You should call... That is an honor among the otter clan.
Yes, I feel elated with pride, and I will tell my grandkids this story. Do I need any precursory knowledge of what I should look forward to with these tigers?
They're immune to fire.
Okay, that's fine. I hit them with a stick.
Sure. What is your resistance to fire?
I thought you said you were joking about the fire-breathing part.
I didn't say... No. The fire-breathing, yes. But have you ever seen a flaming tiger?
A what? I'm pretty sure they call that animal cruelty. You're not allowed to just light them on fire.
So, you can't pet these. They will burn you. Their pelts are really popular, though, for keeping warm over winter. Just, you don't want to touch them while they're alive, because they seem to produce some sort of slick oil that is very flammable, and when they get upset, they can ignite themselves.
Perhaps we can pick up some oils of resistance while we're out.
If we find it necessary, or we can just also avoid the giant flaming death tigers.
Don't worry, they won't turn into a giant sea tornado of water, flaming tornado of fire, but that is beside the point.
So when they actually do that, it's all your fault, John.
As long as no one's making Voltron, I think we're fine.
Right. So, eat up, and in about the next 10 minutes, you're going to have to dip out of here.
Perfectly fine. We have a game plan.
Yeah, head back to Franny's, and...
John, in your epic monologue about gates, you mentioned some Book of the Fallen.
Yeah.
Is this an actual, literary text that could be read?
If you can convince the Overseer and...
Damn it!
Jaeger, sure.
Okay, I was hoping, we could go down to the local library that you made mention of, and they would have something on it.
No, this is secret knowledge. There are some things that are best kept from the public. Listen, all I know, it's a book that essentially talks about the end of the world and how it happens, and that you can try and stop it, but you'll just delay the inevitable. It's mostly nihilism. All right. Anyway, you two, lay low for the night. Head back to Mrs. Potts. I'll get what information I can about the other two. If anything changes, I'll contact you through the tavern.
All right.
Well, Ben, I think we're hunkering down at Franny's. So, maybe I'll finally get one of those pancakes.
He's got all the bacon right now. He got the bacon. So, you eat your fill, enjoying these brief moments. How are your characters feeling?
There's still a bit of tension because we know that the Red Guard aren't too far away. It was nice to have a distraction for just a moment. Finn is focused on the next objective, but in the moment of silence, as we are stuffing our faces, there is the gravity of the situation starts to inch over. And as it does, you just take another bite.
Yep, eat your feelings. Finavir is eating his feelings.
Charles Smoot also eating his feelings. There is an overwhelming sense of frustration and exhaustion, as it seems like just maybe everything Charles wants is right in front of him, but completely out of his grasp, and still yet another journey away.
And in a strange way, it seems like Charles kind of understands John-Xavier. If not in the exact same sense, you've reached a strange understanding with him. Whether or not you forgive him for his actions remains to be seen. But for now, you'll trust him. And you leave from... Oh man, the name kind of ruins the seriousness. You leave from the Busty Exotic Girls Burlesque Club is what I'm calling it now.
BBEG.
BEGBC?
Big Busty Exotic Girls?
No,
Busty?
Big Exotic Girls Burlesque Club is what she just said.
Busty Exotic Girls, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the BEGBC.
Yeah, either way, you leave the BEGBC. Oh wow, that really
It kind of rolls off the tongue.
the BEGBC. That's the place for me.
BEGBC.
You leave.
From the Bee Gees.
You leave Bee Gees. I don't know about you, but I'm going to Bee Gees.
What are you going to do now? I'm going to Bee Gees.
The seriousness of this moment preserved so well.
Okay. And so, with that, you both depart from the brothel and begin making your way back through East District to South District and Mrs. Potts Tavern and Teas. And I think that is where we're going to end off this week's episode of the Gate Chronicles. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Gate Chronicles. We're so glad that you joined us, and we hope that you'll stick around for next week's episode. And by next week, I mean like next week.
Next week.
Yeah, but like the next week, because we're still sticking. Yeah.
One of these weeks.
Yeah. We do want to give a big thank you and shout out to Michael Gelfi of Michael Gelfi Studios and Monument Studios for creating and providing the sounds that we use in our ambience and soundscapes. Thank you guys. Their links are in the description below. But also, we want to give a big thank you and a round of applause. Cue the sound cards here. Not you guys. You don't have to clap. To our patrons, Stephen Howland and Jason Lillis, for supporting our podcast. We're so grateful for you guys. Thank you so much. And I hope everyone else is clapping for them. But if you are driving your car, please don't clap. You can clap with your knees. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Elbows?
Honk for Steven.
Honk for Steve.
Who's Steve?
Steven. Yeah, honk for them, guys. No, don't get pulled over. But either way, thank you guys so much. And if you want to support our podcast, there are many ways to do so. You can join our Discord and hang out with us because we know it is a terrible economy. Or if you have the ability and you're willing to do so, consider donating to our Patreon because every penny goes towards us doing more music and ambiance and paying those fees. So, all right. I think that's it from me. So we'll see you next week on another episode of the Gate Chronicles.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.